Picture this. You're a 12-year-old boy living in a quiet valley village in the heart of Bulgaria. It's the year 1550, and the world you know is small. No maps, no distant cities, no grand empires. Just your home, your family, and the hills that cradle your village like a mother's arms. The morning mist hugs the ground like a soft blanket, curling around the thatched roofs and drifting through the narrow dirt paths between homes. Dew clings to the wildflowers at your feet. The sun hasn't yet crested the mountains, but the sky glows faintly blue, a promise of another quiet day. You walk beside your father through the fields, your small hands clutching a shepherd's stick that's too long for you, but he carved it for you anyway. The sheep move lazily in the morning chill, their breath visible in the cold air, the bells around their necks chiming gently like wind chimes in slow rhythm. That sound, soft, steady, familiar, has been the background of your life for as long as you can remember. Your father is quiet, but his silence is never heavy. It's the silence of routine, of trust. He teaches through example. How to watch the flock, how to walk without startling them, how to find your way by the wind and the slope of the hills. You're still learning, but he never scolds. He just smiles when you get it right. Back home, your mother is already awake, stoking the fire in the clay hearth. The smell of baking bread and wood smoke spills out into the cold air. She sings under her breath, a tune she sang when you were a baby, one that makes something in your chest ache without knowing why. You hear the creak of the wooden spoon in the pot, the soft clatter of clay cups being set out for breakfast. She always pours the goat's milk for you first, and it's always warm. It tastes like comfort, like everything in the world is as it should be. Your little sister is still asleep, curled under a wool blanket. The dog snores beside her. You'll wake her up later gently, like your mother taught you. There are no clocks in your village, no soldiers, no taxes, no letters with imperial seals. Just time measured by sunlight and seasons. You know the nearby hills like you know your own hands. You know which rocks are good for climbing, which trees hide nests in the spring, where the rabbits run when they get spooked. You are 12, and you have never been beyond the valley, and you have never had to be. The world is still innocent. You don't know what lies beyond the forest, past the mountains, beyond the horizon. You don't know the name of the empire that claims to rule your land. You don't know that somewhere far away, someone has written your name on a list. You don't know that this is the last morning you will ever spend at home. But in just a few hours, that soft morning will be shattered by hooves on stone, by a parchment scroll, by eyes that do not see you as a child. It begins with a sound that doesn't belong. At first, it's faint, a dull thudding in the distance, like distant thunder echoing through the valley. But the sky is clear, the mist thinning with the rising sun. You pause, your hand resting on your father's arm. He hears it too. His eyes narrow, his body goes still. The sheep shift nervously, then the sound grows louder, closer, sharper, the sharp metallic rhythm of iron horseshoes on cobblestone. Hooves. Your father's face changes. In an instant, the color drains from it, as if the blood has turned to ash. You've never seen him afraid, not when wolves came near the herd, not during storms. But now, something ancient and buried flickers in his eyes. Fear. And not for himself. He turns to you and says only one word. Run. But you don't, you can't. Your feet stay frozen in the earth as your mind tries to understand. Behind the trees, down the narrow path that leads into the village, the riders appear, 6 of them, maybe more. Their horses are powerful and sleek, their harnesses polished, and their banners ripple with a symbol you don't recognize. But the villagers do. Doors slam shut, women grab their children and vanish inside. The blacksmith drops his hammer, even the dogs go silent. Your mother steps out of the house, hands dusted with flour, eyes wide with alarm. The clay jug she's holding slips from her grasp and crashes to the floor, shattering into pieces. She doesn't even look down. Her eyes are locked on the approaching men. The riders wear silk robes, untouched by the dirt of the road. Their boots are clean. Their faces are calm, too calm, as they dismount one by one, rolling up scrolls, murmuring to each other in a language you don't understand. But you don't need to understand. You feel it. These are not merchants, not soldiers. They are collectors. Your village has seen them before. Every few years they come, Ottoman officials sent by the Sultan to take boys from Christian villages, for the empire, for the palace, for something they call devshirme. But no one says the word aloud. They call it a great honor. But you've seen the aftermath, you've heard the stories. From behind a wooden cart, you watch as they scan the villagers like livestock. Their eyes pass over the men, the women, the children. One of them, tall, with a hawk-like gaze, locks eyes with you. He points. Your mother screams before the sound even fully leaves his mouth. She falls to her knees, grabbing your arm, sobbing in a language the officials don't understand, or pretend not to. Your father doesn't move. He doesn't plead. He stands still, fists clenched at his sides, because he knows, everyone does, to resist is death. Not just for you, but for the whole family. One of the soldiers pulls you away. Your mother wails, clawing at the earth, as if digging a grave with her bare hands. You're told you'll be taken to serve the Sultan, that you'll be trained, that this is a gift, an honor. But you're 12 years old, and all you hear are your mother's cries fading behind you. You don't look back, not because you don't want to, but because they won't let you. That is the last time you will ever see her. The last time you will feel the air of your valley or taste your mother's bread. You are not a boy anymore. You are property. And so begins the journey to a palace of marble, where your name will be taken, where your God will be taken, where everything you were will be broken down and rebuilt in the shape of the empire. The cart rattles over uneven roads, the wooden wheels groaning with every turn. You're crammed inside with other boys, strangers, all of them. Some are older, maybe 14 or 15. Others are younger, barely able to speak through their tears. None of you speak. None of you dare. The air smells of sweat, dust, and fear. At night, you sleep beneath the open sky, your body curled against the cold. There are no blankets, no fire. Just dirt beneath your back and stars that feel impossibly far away. The guards eat better than you, sleep more than you, and watch you constantly. Not with compassion, but with suspicion, like herders watching wild animals that might bolt. Some boys cry quietly into their arms. Others try to stay brave, holding onto bits of cloth, crosses, pebbles from home, anything that still smells like yesterday. One boy tries to run on the third night. You never knew his name, only that he had sandy hair and trembling hands. He waited until just before dawn, slipped into the brush when the guards turned away. But they found him, dragged him back by the wrist, his legs kicking, his voice screaming your language, calling for help that would never come. They made you all watch. The punishment was brutal, unforgiving. The sound of it haunts you still, fists striking flesh, bones cracking, the boy's cries slowly turning to silence. When they were done, he didn't move. Just lay there, a swollen, shivering heap. By morning, he was gone. No one spoke his name again. The lesson was clear: escape is death. As the days blur into weeks, your body weakens. Your shoes fall apart. Your ribs begin to show. You learn to walk without complaint. To eat whatever is thrown to you, even if it's sour or crawling. You learn not to look the guards in the eyes, to sleep lightly, to listen more than speak. You are being trained, though no one says it out loud. The training begins long before you ever reach the palace. You march through forests, across fields, along the edges of rivers, past villages that close their doors as you pass. Some women throw scraps of bread when the guards aren't looking. Others avert their eyes. They've seen this before. You are not the first child taken this way, and you will not be the last. One boy walks beside you every day. His name is Nikos. He was taken from a Greek fishing village near the coast. He's older, stronger, and for now, kind. He tells you to conserve your strength, to hide your tears, to keep your head down. They like quiet boys, he says. You'll last longer. But even Nikos has his limits. One morning, you find him with a split lip and bruises on his back. He had spoken too boldly to a guard, and now he limps when he walks. He doesn't tell you what happened. He doesn't need to. By the time the gates of Istanbul rise in the distance, a shimmering skyline of domes and minarets gleaming in the sun, you should feel awe, wonder, maybe even hope. But all you feel is dread, because you know the worst isn't over. The worst hasn't even begun. The road ends at a wall, tall, endless, and smooth as bone. Above it rise the domes and towers of Istanbul, beautiful, foreign, terrifying. This is the heart of the empire, the center of a world you were never meant to see. And it will be your prison. The palace gates swing open, not with grandeur, but with quiet finality. The guards usher you through like cattle, and the great iron doors close behind you with a sound that feels too heavy for metal alone. It sounds like the end of your old life. Inside, nothing is familiar. The gardens are too perfect, the buildings too clean. The marble floors shine like still water, and you can see your reflection in them, thin, dirty, frightened. Your feet, cracked and bleeding from the journey, leave smudges on their polished surface. You flinch. The guards don't care. They lead you to a wide courtyard, where other officials in fine robes wait, holding scrolls and feather pens. They speak in a mix of languages, Arabic, Turkish, Persian, and you catch only fragments. But their gestures say enough. They are sorting you, like goods in a market. You are told to stand still. One by one, the boys are called forward. They are examined, not like children, but like livestock. Teeth are checked, skin is inspected, height and posture are measured. You're asked to read, to count, to repeat strange words in strange tongues. If you hesitate, they frown. If you do well, they nod, murmuring notes on their scrolls. When it's your turn, you step forward and lift your chin. You try to keep your voice steady. You remember what Nikos said, quiet boys survive. An official inspects your face, turns your head left and right, touches your jaw like he's evaluating marble for a statue. You hear him say something about your eyes, about your skin, about your potential. He smiles, and you suddenly feel cold. They divide the boys into 3 groups. One group, the strongest, will be sent for military training. These are the future janissaries, elite soldiers of the Sultan, loyal and deadly. Another group, smaller, will be sent to farms or workshops to serve the empire's needs in more humble ways. And then there is the third group, yours, the palace boys. You are chosen for Enderun, the Sultan's inner school, a place of elite education, they say. You are told you are fortunate, that this is the greatest honor, that you will live in the heart of the palace, study with the finest teachers, walk the same halls as viziers and princes. But no one tells you the truth, that those same halls are lined with secrets, that behind the walls of this school is a machine, vast, quiet, and merciless, built not just to educate, but to transform, to erase. You look for Nikos, but he's been sent to the soldiers' group. His eyes meet yours one last time before the guards push you both toward your new lives. He raises a hand as if to say something, but there's no time. The doors close again. You are led deeper into the palace, deeper into silence, deeper into a world where your name will be taken, your God replaced, your past forgotten, and your very self broken down to be rebuilt. Not for you, but for them. The doors of Enderun close behind you with a soft final thud. You are now inside the most elite school in the empire, a place whispered about in distant villages like a myth, a dream, or a threat. You once imagined a school as a place of learning. This is something else entirely. The corridors are quiet, too quiet, built of cold marble and echoing stone. Every footstep feels like a trespass. Every wall watches. The windows are high and narrow, letting in light but never letting you see out. The world beyond might as well no longer exist. Your dormitory is not what you expect. It is spotless, beautiful, lined with rows of narrow beds, each one covered in silk. But it does not feel like luxury. It feels like a cage. On your first night, you lie in bed staring at the carved ceiling, listening to sounds that will become as familiar to you as your heartbeat. The muffled sobs of boys trying not to cry. Whispers in a dozen languages. Footsteps, soft, deliberate, from someone who isn't supposed to be walking after lights out. You clutch the small wooden cross your mother gave you. You've kept it hidden, pressing it into your palm when the fear rises too fast to swallow. But that night, a guard finds it. He takes it without a word. And just like that, your last tie to home is gone. In the days that follow, you begin to learn what education means in the palace. Yes, you are taught. You learn to read and write in Turkish, Arabic, and Persian. You study mathematics, astronomy, literature, music, and the arts. You memorize poetry. You are drilled in court etiquette, calligraphy, and languages you've never even heard of before. But beneath all of this, there is something else. Something darker. You are being watched constantly, not just for your grades, but for your behavior, your body, your obedience. Smiling too little is noted. Speaking your old language is punished. Asking questions can be dangerous. You're told to forget your Christian roots. Conversion to Islam is not optional. It is ritualized, performed before officials as if it were your own free choice. They dress you in clean garments. They give you a new name. You are no longer who you were. You are now Mehmet, and no one will ever call you by your birth name again. The older boys don't talk much, but you can see it in their eyes. The deadness, the calculation, the quiet hunger for approval. You sense early on that success here is not just about knowledge or discipline, it's about survival. And survival has a price. You try to be invisible. You learn to speak only when spoken to. You smile when told. You bow when expected. You obey. Because somewhere inside these palace walls, something is always watching. Not just your performance, but your submission. What they call a school, you're starting to understand, is really a place of training and transformation. Not of the mind, but of the soul. You were taken as a boy. You are being remade as a servant of empire. And the worst of it? They will make you believe you chose it. The lessons at Enderun come in layers. There are the official ones: language, astronomy, mathematics, poetry, taught in bright rooms with polished floors and silent students. The kind of lessons that appear in books, in the words of ambassadors, in history's glowing descriptions of Ottoman brilliance. But then there are the other lessons, the ones no one speaks aloud. The ones learned in the shadows, in the silence between footsteps, in the glances that linger too long. You begin to feel it before you understand it. That in this place, survival means more than obedience. It means learning who to please. It begins one evening after lights out. You're sitting on the edge of your bed, lacing your thin slippers, when you notice him, Amit, an older boy, 3 or 4 years ahead of you. His posture is relaxed, too confident for someone in this place. He walks with the ease of someone who knows the system, or belongs to it. He sits beside you without asking. "You're new," he says quietly. "That's always the hardest, but you're lucky, you're smart and pretty. That helps." His voice is gentle, but there's something in it that makes your stomach turn. He continues, "I can protect you, teach you how things work here. The teachers listen to me. I can make sure you get good assignments, special privileges. But," he lets his hand rest on your shoulder, "but you'll have to show gratitude. Special gratitude." Your blood turns to ice. You want to run, to cry out, to tell someone. But there is no one. There are no parents here, no safe rooms, no justice, only a system built on silence, survival, and sacrifice. That night, you learn what protection really means in the palace. You also learn what it means to refuse. Boys who turn away these offers are not punished publicly. No, the punishment is colder than that. They are isolated, given the worst chores, watched more closely. Their names disappear from advancement lists. Their food portions shrink. Their tutors grow impatient. And sometimes, they just vanish. You begin to see the pattern. The same boys are always near the teachers. They smile easily, wear finer robes, eat slightly better meals. You watch how they touch the hands of certain officials, how they are touched in return. No one says anything. No one ever needs to. You understand now, your body is part of your currency, and every smile, every glance, every refusal or submission is a negotiation in a language you never chose to learn. Some boys adapt, like Dmitri, a quiet boy from a northern village who, within months, is wearing new shoes and silk cuffs. He no longer speaks of his mother, no longer prays. His eyes have gone hollow, but he is always smiling. Others refuse, like Stefanos, a fisherman's son who clenches his jaw through every advance. He's punished often, made to kneel for hours, beaten with canes, laughed at, and slowly, day by day, he fades. One morning, his bed is empty. No one asks where he went, and no one is told. You begin to walk a line between silence and surrender. You nod when spoken to, accept when you must, and you tell yourself over and over, this is just to survive. But the line blurs. Every day, a little more of you is spent, bargained, lost. And the worst part? The system makes you feel complicit. The ones who abuse you were once boys like you, and some of them, you realize with horror, started just as afraid as you are now. The palace is not a building, it is a machine, a place that turns fear into obedience, obedience into favor, favor into power, and it is always hungry. In the grand halls of the palace, everything gleams. Polished marble, gold-leafed doors, silk robes rustling like whispers in the dark. But in the dormitories, in the tight spaces between dreams and duty, something else lingers. Ghosts. Not the kind that rattle chains or haunt shadows. These ghosts are made of silence, of empty beds, of names that no one dares to speak. Some boys disappear slowly. They stop talking, they stop eating, they stop hoping. You watch them fade like candlelight swallowed by the wind. One day you glance over and their bed is cold, perfectly made. Their things are gone, their name never spoken again, not by the teachers, not by the other boys. Others vanish suddenly. A wrong word, a returned touch, a refusal whispered in the wrong ear. And just like that, gone. No one asks, no one cries. Because everyone learns quickly, to speak their names is to share their fate. You feel it in yourself too, the slow erosion of the boy you used to be. Your language, your prayers, your memories, they begin to wither. Not because you want them to, but because remembering hurts, because remembering threatens your survival. So you learn to forget just a little more each day. You learn to smile when expected, to praise the Sultan when prompted, to accept privileges with your eyes downcast and your soul clenched in silence. And in the quiet moments, between chores, between prayers, between the footsteps of older students, you begin to hear them, the soft echoes, the weightless footsteps, the ghosts of the ones who couldn't adapt, who wouldn't surrender, who resisted in the only way left to them, by vanishing. They never left the palace, not really. Their presence lingers in the corners, in the cracks of the stone, in the echo of a whisper just before dawn. They are the warnings, the sacrifices, the unrecorded. You think of Stephanos, his silence, his hollow stare. The night before he vanished, you found a shell under his pillow, small, white, from the sea, a final memory of home. You didn't take it, but in the mornings now, you sometimes reach beneath your pillow as if hoping to find it there. You begin to realize a painful truth. Here in the palace, not all deaths are physical. Some boys die inside and keep walking. They learn to become what the system demands, to look beautiful, to speak perfectly, to serve with grace, all while something inside them quietly crumbles into dust. You see them at meals, at lessons, in prayer, eyes bright, smiles practiced, posture perfect. But you know, you've seen the hollow behind their gaze. You've heard the silence in their footsteps. They are the walking dead, and you are becoming one of them. There comes a moment, not marked by a date or ceremony, when you realize what the palace truly wants from you. Not just obedience, not just intelligence. It wants your transformation, not into a man, but into something useful, something loyal, something capable of cruelty if it serves the empire. You are no longer a child. You've survived the early years, the hunger, the fear, the nights of silence and shame. And now, the system turns its gaze toward you with a different kind of interest. You are being watched again, not for weakness, but for potential. Older students begin to defer to you. A teacher praises your Turkish pronunciation. A eunuch places a hand on your shoulder, holds it just a beat too long, and says, "You're learning quickly." The palace rewards boys like you. You know what that means. You've seen it happen again and again. The ones who survive the longest eventually become something else. Not victims, not rebels, enforcers. They begin small, recommending which new boy should share their bed, reporting which student was caught whispering in Greek, laughing with the very guards who once beat them. And then they rise. Their robes grow finer, their tasks more meaningful. They sit closer to the instructors. They become favorites, not because they are innocent, but because they are useful. You are standing at that same threshold now. They offer you more than protection. They offer inclusion, a chance to rise, to wield power, to stop being prey and start becoming predator. It's not a demand, it's a quiet invitation. All you have to do is choose. But the cost is everything. To rise, you must participate, not just in the silence, but in the system itself. You must look at the next group of terrified boys and see what the officials see. Opportunity. You must do what was once done to you, and maybe you'll be good at it. Maybe you'll learn to justify it. Tell yourself it's better than dying, that it's how the world works, that you're just surviving. But in your quietest moments, alone in the corridors, in the stillness before dawn, you hear your mother's voice, faint now, fading, and you remember the boy you used to be, the boy who chased sheep through the mist, the boy who cried the night his cross was taken, the boy who swore he would never become one of them. You are not that boy anymore, but you are not yet them, not yet. And so the question hangs in the air, like a blade between two worlds. Will you climb the ladder, knowing it's built from the broken bodies of boys just like you? Or will you stay beneath it and be crushed? From the outside, the palace is magnificent. Visitors from distant kingdoms speak of its splendor. Domes that shimmer like gold in the morning light, gardens filled with tulips and songbirds, fountains carved from marble, and halls that echo with music, laughter, and power. They call it a miracle of civilization. They call it glory. But you know the truth. The palace is a cage. A beautiful one, yes, but a cage nonetheless. By now, you've learned how to walk its corridors like a shadow. You speak fluent Turkish and Arabic. You can recite poetry from memory. You debate law and theology with elegance. You dress in silks, dine on dates and honey, and sit beside men who once ignored you, who now praise you, groom you, test you. You are rising, that much is clear, but the air is still heavy. The walls still watch, and though your bed is softer now, you wake just as often in the night, heart pounding, breath caught, haunted by dreams of simpler days and faces long gone. The teachers say you are fortunate, that few rise so quickly, that your name, your new name, will be known across the empire. You smile, you bow, you thank them, but inside you feel the fracture growing, because every step upward requires leaving something behind. A memory, a friend, a piece of yourself. Dmitri no longer looks at you the same way. His smile is polite but empty. You remember when he was the first to offer you comfort, when he warned you in whispers about the palace's unspoken rules. Now he is one of them too, and perhaps you are in his eyes. You've learned to carry yourself with pride, but also with caution. Because power here is not permanent. It is a performance. One misstep away from punishment or erasure. And still, you wonder, maybe this is what greatness costs. Maybe the palace is not meant to feel safe. Maybe no empire ever is. But then you see the new arrivals, wide-eyed, trembling, clutching tiny tokens of home, and something inside you breaks all over again. You know what's coming for them. You've lived it. You are living it still. And you can't help but wonder, is this the end of the journey? Or just a deeper level of the cage? The world looks up to this place. They call it a marvel of education, a testament to imperial sophistication. They write books about its architecture, its poetry, its enlightened administrators, but they never write about the sobbing at night, the quiet disappearances, the bargains made in silence and silk. The children turn to instruments. They don't see what you see, that the domes may shine, but they cast long shadows, and that beneath the gold, the palace is built, not just from stone and wealth, but from the broken hearts and forgotten names of thousands of boys. Just like you, years pass. The boy who once chased sheep through the misty valleys of Bulgaria is gone. In his place stands a young man, articulate, graceful, polished, a servant of the empire, a product of the palace. You graduate with honors in a ceremony called chikma, dressed in fine robes, praised for your intellect, your discipline, your promise. You are assigned to a post within the imperial administration, or perhaps to the elite Janissary Corps, or a governor's household. They say you are ready, but you know what you carry with you. You carry the silence of Stephanos, the hunger in Nikos's eyes, the empty bed of the boy who vanished the night after refusing a guard's hand. You carry the sound of your mother's voice, blurred now in memory, barely a whisper behind all the languages they've poured into your mouth. You are one of the success stories, a survivor. And yet, you wonder if survival was ever enough, because as you rise in the empire, you begin to see behind the curtains, and what you see is a cycle. Those who survive the palace often recreate it wherever they go. They become officials, commanders, teachers. They speak of discipline and loyalty and service, and pass on the same cruelty that once shattered them. And in quiet moments, when you are alone, when the performance ends, you ask yourself, what did I become to survive? Whose pain did I ignore? Whose suffering did I allow, just so I wouldn't return to being prey? Centuries later, tourists will walk through the palace where you once slept. They'll marvel at the domes and mosaics. They'll pose for photographs in the ornate courtyards. Their guides will speak proudly of the Enderun School, the first gifted education system, the foundation of Ottoman brilliance. But no one will mention the cost. No one will speak of the boys who cried quietly into their pillows at night, of the thousands whose names were never recorded, of the hands that reached for home and never found it again. Your name, too, will be lost. You will exist only in fragments, a date on a registry, a line in a scroll, a shadow in a painting. History may remember what you served, but not what you endured. Unless we remember, unless we choose to speak the names that were stolen, unless we see past the marble and gold and into the lives that built them. So today, across centuries and empires, I speak to you, the boy who became a number, then a servant, then a stranger to himself. You are not forgotten, your story matters, and the palace, no matter how beautiful, will never silence the echo of your stolen childhood. Your ghost walks still through those corridors, not to haunt, but to remind. That power built on innocence is never clean, and that the price of empire was you.